welcome to my bed. So I kind of wanted to give like slumber party vibes right now because I have a bit of a headache and I needed to film this video because I don't want to not film videos before I leave for my big trip to Guatemala. I am going home to Guatemala for like 2 weeks at the end of December, so I wanted to film a couple of videos, and this is why we are in my pajamas. So I think it will be kind of comfy, just super nice, super chill, and I want to talk today about the worst books of 2024. But first, I kind of wanted to give a little bit of a disclaimer slash apology. I really don't have anything to apologize for because I didn't do it on purpose, obviously. But I don't know if you guys are aware of all this controversy that's going around on book Twitter, because a book that I recently recommended, Crown of Starlight by Kate, I don't know her last name, Coral, something, but basically this author on book Twitter was kind of like, she got caught giving 1-star reviews to other debut novels. So this was kind of like a super weird behavior to do. Like, apparently she's also a debut author. I featured her on my list of my most anticipated books of 2024, and because of that, she was like she was gonna be in Illumicrate. Her publisher is really big. She had everything ready to go to have like an amazing book out on 2024. But apparently she's kind of like an insecure person, and because of that, she created a bunch of dummy accounts and left 1-star reviews on other debut authors' books. And she left 5-star reviews on her own book, which obviously is a super obvious thing to do. Like, anybody that goes into accounts can like look at the history of reviews and they can see that there's a clear pattern there. But whatever, she didn't think it through. She was not very intelligent about this deception, but whatever. So because of that, some people started noticing the pattern because authors keep very good track of who is reviewing their books. Again, not super healthy behavior, but like, again, they kind of caught her doing that. And she kind of like doubled down, saying that it wasn't her, that a friend of hers created this account, and that the friend basically did that because she was trying to be like a good friend and kind of support her in a weird way. And she even had like DMs. She photoshopped DMs of herself talking to herself about this, and like responding back and forth, saying like, acting like she was a friend, when in reality, like, she herself did it the whole time. She was just like creating this fake friend as an excuse. And then like even more things came out and she got caught red-handed. And right now, when I'm talking to you about it, is December 14th. And the resolution of all of this is that basically she got kicked out from her publisher, kicked out from Illumicrate. She got like dropped by her agent. So she really had some pretty big consequences for her actions, which I'm glad, because this is not something that you're not supposed to do. It's kind of sketchy. It's kind of super mean girl vibe. And it was also like she was doing it to POC authors, like people of color, and debut novels. So in self-published novels, she was really like being awful the way she did it as well. So obviously now she actually apologized for it. She admitted that it was her, and because of that, I'm kind of like leaving the video up because the book is not coming out anymore. The Crown of Starlight is like done. Is not. I don't know if somebody else is gonna pick it up. I doubt it. So that's why I'm leaving the video up. There's no really any reason for me to delete it. I feel like she got what she deserved at this point. She apologized. Apology was kind of like a non-apology, but she did mention that she had some pretty intense like mental health issues, and she's gonna just isolate herself and try to work on herself, which I congratulate her for. Like, honestly, like, go be better, change yourself. This is not what you're supposed to be doing with your life. It's very petty, very childish, and you don't deserve the opportunities that were given to you. So like, go improve yourself. Honestly, that's the only thing I can do. Tell her, it's like, improve yourself. But yeah, I'm not deleting the video, and I'm also gonna put some resources down below. I feel like Read with Cindy did such an amazing job of like actually like making a in-depth video of like every single thing that happened and has her sources and everything. So I'm gonna put a couple of people down below. Also the person that initially broke the story, I forgot her name, but I'm gonna put it over here. And yeah, so she was the one that actually was doing a lot of the investigating journalism of this, and she's on TikTok, so she's not on YouTube, but I'll still link her down below. Yeah, and that is my whole shebang about that. I am not gonna do anything about that anymore, but yeah, so now we can go on to the worst books of 2023. So I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books, and it shouldn't be too bad. The first one that I'm gonna talk about is Perfect, the Genesis Trilogy, Book 1 by L.A. Kistler. So this book is about a girl whose mother is in charge of making her perfect. She's not allowed to leave her room. She's not allowed to like go in the sun, and she's kind of like a local myth in this neighborhood because everybody knows that there's a girl in this house, but they know that she's not allowed to go out. So it's a very much like a Stephen King thing where like there are a group of boys that are very close friends and they want to like free this girl one night, and it's like first the perspective of them when they were younger and they first go through this, and then the perspective of them when they're older and they meet again and they resolve other problems. And I think this book is pretty okay. It's not terrible. The writing is just I think it was a debut novel, and the writing is just extremely basic, and the plot is very basic, and the characters are in their mid-20s and they act like they're 14, 13, like that level of romance. And I can accept that from the girl because she's been like very socially repressed. She's been in this room her entire life, but the boy really needs to get a grip. And they were like, it's super insta love. It just has a lot of things going against it, and it's a trilogy, and it's very much like spy novel. Kind of becomes like that sort of novel, like more of like a FBI kind of like thriller rather than like a horror. That is what this book was advertised like. I feel like it was kind of advertised like a Stephen King horror type of book, but it can kind of become like more like an FBI spy novel kind of horror kind of like novel. And I thought it was like a super weird take, a super weird mishmash of like a couple different genres. It just didn't work for me. And now the next one that I really didn't enjoy, for nothing really that I hated, but it was Loving the Time of Serial Killers by Alice Thompson. So yeah, he just extremely extraordinary, like generic, very much like a rom-com book. I just feel like the guy and the girl didn't have any chemistry. It was a golden retriever boy, like a black cat girl, like, and they're neighbors, and the girl is very obsessed with serial killers. She's writing her dissertation about this. And then the guy kind of like looks super like like kind of like sketchy, like she doesn't know where he goes. He has a couple like different encounters, but the whole thing is like this real like serial killer aspect lasts like 20 pages. And then they're in love. So it's just like, okay, like it's not like giving me tension, it's not giving me love to hate. It just like, it was like very brief. And it basically has the exact same plot as Beach Read, but Beach Read did it like 1,000 times better. It was just so much more like character development, so much more like intrigue. And even though I don't love Beach Read, I can admit that I did it 100 times better. And for that, I'm gonna put like Loving the Time of Serial Killers. It was just like super watered down. I didn't really enjoy it all that much. In retrospect, I think I gave it a pretty good rating when I first read it. And then the next book that I read was The Vanishing Hour by Stefania Nova Glass. This one is another thriller. It's about a man, still in like 3 different perspectives. The first perspective is a mother that has a missing daughter. The second perspective is a woman that kind of has a tragic past, and now she's living in this hotel, and the hotel is off season, so she's basically all alone. And she is kind of just going through this like very intense PTSD. And then this guy who, his dad went missing, and he's trying to find his father. And the thing with this is that it's a super predictable thriller if you kind of like get it in the first 20 pages. And that's kind of what happened to me. Kind of figure out what the twist was going to be in the first 20 pages. And then I was just waiting for it to happen. And because I knew what the twist was going to be, I noticed the plot holes a lot more. because a lot of these characters, you see their POV, and they should have known a lot more information that they knew. And it was kind of super weird because, like, of course, like, if you know the twist since the beginning, you kind of like hyper analyze every interaction, and I felt like a lot of those people like were acting dumb and didn't have information that they clearly should have had. So I just didn't like that for him. I thought it was super predictable. I got the twist in the first 20 pages, and then I couldn't get over all the little plot holes that I discovered throughout the reading experience, because I still finished the book even though I kind of knew what the twist was gonna be. And then the next one that I didn't enjoy was The Long Game by Elena de Armas. And this one is kind of surprising because I did really enjoy The Spanish Law of Deception by Elena de Armas. And kind of like everybody hates that book, so I never really got it. But now this one, I actually do get it. So this book is about this guy who's a professional soccer player. There's a bug. This is a professional soccer player that's kind of retired, kind of want to like escape it all, and he goes to a small town in North Carolina, and then this girl who's kind of like the PR person for a big soccer team, and because of some like scandal that happens, she has to kind of do like a PR like tour to like make her reputation better, and she ends up in this small town in North Carolina, the same small town, coaching this girl's soccer team. And my main problem with this is the audiobook is horrendous. I hated the accent of the main love interest. I couldn't get it over with. 2, this was sold to me as a Ted Lasso kind of like spin-off, like kind of like the same vibes, and it absolutely did not have the same vibes. It had like 0% of the charm, and the characters that were supposed to be like Roy and Keely didn't have the same personality whatsoever. So I think that was like really did a disservice to this book, because immediately since like the first 20 pages I was already like kind of not enjoying it. And 3, like the characters have 0 chemistry in my opinion. I notice chemistry a lot in books, and it might be because I have specific taste, and these characters were just not giving me anything. Like, I wasn't like kicking my feet, I wasn't excited, I was just like, please can this book stop? So I just didn't enjoy it, and I enjoyed a lot of romances this year. I think like my bar for enjoying a romance is on the ground, basically. Like, romances don't have to do a lot for me to enjoy them, so I didn't like this one at all. Speaking of romances, the next one that I absolutely hated was A Holly Jolly Ever After by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This one is one of the romances that I was enjoying on the first 100 pages, and then it absolutely turned into a disaster, because this book is about a woman who is known for doing Hallmark films. That's kind of her brand. She's an actress. And then this guy who's known for being a boy band star, but now they're both in like their late 30s. Like, I think the guy's in like early 40s, and they're kind of like, their careers are both like slowing down. Like, she just went through a big divorce, and since her whole brand was being like married and Christian, like that is obviously not good for her brand. And he just went through a big sex scandal because he had like an amateur sex tape that got leaked, and because of that, both of their careers kind of got like reignited after being like out of the spotlight for a long time. And because of that, they got pitched a film to do the first spicy Hallmark movie ever. And it's not quite like porn. It's just like a more like heavy-handed Hallmark movie, not like actual porn. They don't do that. They both accept, but this girl is super sheltered, so she doesn't really know how to act like she's attractive to the guy. So he basically is like, oh, I'll teach you. And I love that trope. I love that, like, I'll teach you, like, take my hand, like let me lead you kind of thing. And I thought I was going to have a blast. And the thing is, like, I had a blast in the first 100 pages because the guy is kind of, like, super immature. And the girl is kind of, like, super stiff. And they kind of, like, complement each other in that way. But halfway through the book, and this is a spoiler, if you don't want to hear it, skip, like, 2 or 3 minutes. But basically, the girl gets pregnant. It's like an accidental pregnancy trope. So like a lot of the things that were like haha, like also funny, all become like very, very serious. And now I have no desire to know anything about this. Like, I just want them to be responsible parents immediately, and they just have to like go through all this like kind of figure out what their relationship is gonna be, like the guy being super immature, the girl like they having like terrible communication, and at that point it is not fun anymore. The stakes are too high. You need to figure it out. I'm not having fun anymore. And that is my main thing with like I think a lot of people also hate the accidental pregnancy trope because it's like a lot of people's like biggest fears. I know that I really have a big fear about that. And also like it makes books like immediately not enjoyable anymore because people have like actual responsibilities right now, and you guys having terrible communication is just not doing it for me. So yeah, I really didn't like that book, especially because it was like a huge disappointment because like the first half it was like a 10 out of 10, like knocking it out of the park, and the second half was horrible. Okay, and the next one is not really a bad book. It's just a disappointing book. It's Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I was really looking forward to this book because it was the first new Cassandra Clare from a brand new universe that was ever like in a really long time, and it was adult as well. I have a couple of disappointments about this book, but it's basically about a guy that is a sword catcher to a prince, and in this world the sword catcher is kind of like a doppelganger. So the sword catcher kind of stands in for the prince in like very high risk situations, so the prince is safe and he doesn't die. And it follows another perspective of this girl who is basically a doctor, a healer more than a doctor, because she also has magic that helps her heal people, and she's part of this like very small religious group that are the last group that has magic, and because of that they're kind of like ostracized from society because people don't understand their magic, so they kind of like don't want to mess with it either. So in this world basically they kind of like go through a lot of political intrigue and a lot of nothing. That's the thing, like what I just explained to you was the entire book, and there's like some political intrigue but there's no plot, and there's not a lot of character development. It's a lot of like world building, but it's like super heavy-handed world building where they just dropped a bunch of like knowledge in like big paragraphs, big chunks of history, and then tons and tons of characters. I think I've shown this before, and I have my book right in front of me, so I'll just show you. So this is the character list for that book, like all this, and it keeps going on the other side. So it's just insane. I just feel like that was just like, I understand that you have to do a lot of work when you start a whole new book, but I think like Cassandra Clare hadn't done that in so long that she kind of forgot how to write a compelling story, and she just tried to like dumped all this history in the first book just so like we are catched up, and she could do a lot more work later on the characters and the plot and the story, and I just don't like that in my books. If I read a book from start to finish, it has to be a complete story that I'm satisfied with. If other books come in the future and they're also good, I'll read them, but I need that one book that I purchased to be a complete story. And I know that that's not everybody. Some people love to have like little snippets all throughout a larger series. I like my books, like even if they're part of a series, to be a complete story among themselves that is satisfactory to the reader. So yeah, that's my main complaint about that one. I was really looking forward to it, and I just didn't love it, but it's not a bad book. I will definitely like keep on in the series if I have time. And the next book that I also didn't enjoy is Land of Milk and Honey. And this book is just like super mega hyper depressing, and it has a lot of exposition, and then it just does a quick turn to info dump at the end. So this book is about a chef that basically was working in America but moved to England to cook. And while she was in England, the world kind of shut down because there was this smog that basically started killing all the plants. And because of that, people started going hungry, and the economy kind of collapsed. And she's kind of stuck there. And she's stuck there, and she can't go back home. And she's also like really depressed because she's a chef and she can't get any good ingredients, like nobody's cooking anymore, people are just surviving. So she gets the opportunity to cook at this very prestigious commune where she will get like all these ingredients that she doesn't have access to, and it's for all these rich people. And I think this book is fine. I thought that it was gonna give very much the menu vibes. It was gonna be like a thriller, but in reality it's more like a person like writing very flowery and like going on for pages and pages about food and about like the environment, the scenery, just like beautiful writing, but no plot and no intrigue. That's the thing, like it was just like nothing was happening, and then like something would happen in like in the middle that was like super interesting, and then like nothing will happen, and then something will happen again, and it will kind of like keep me going. And it's also a super short book. It's like 200 pages. What's up, and welcome to this rough cut of this video because my camera ran out of battery right in the middle of me filming my worst books of the year, and then I proceeded to have to go to bed because it was already like midnight when I was filming that, and then 3 whole days went by because I couldn't find a second to sit and film. So now we're 3 days. I missed my video uploading schedule. Who cares? I'm here to talk about the worst books and finish talking about Land of Milk and Honey. So basically, I didn't love this book because it was a sci-fi dystopian about the world ending and people going into this commune and living this like isolated life, and you don't really know what's going on, if like the commune people are crazy, if the world's really ending. And the thing is, like, I've read a lot of books like that this year because it seemed to be like a theme this year, like commune crazy people books, and I've read a lot of books that did it a lot better. This book basically just did a half-ass job. The writing was beautiful, but the story was not well plotted. I felt like everything just came together at the end in like a miraculous like 180 tone shift where they just input dumped everything that you needed to know. And that for me is not satisfactory, especially in a 200-page book. Should have felt like a very like quick and intriguing and easy read, and it just dragged for so long, and I was like annoyed by it. And then the last book on this list was a debut novel that was Book of the Month pick. It was like a big book that came out this year, The Stranger Upstairs. And it was about a woman who was a social media influencer that moves into this house, and her whole thing is that she was going to renovate this house and do it on camera for like her millions of viewers. But this house also happens to be a big murder took place here. Like it's a murder house basically, and that's the whole appeal to it. She was gonna renovate it, she was gonna get all the sponsors, but she gets there and she just starts to like go into this like fugue state of some sort, and like she just starts going crazy and she doesn't know what's real. She's a very unreliable narrator. The thing I didn't love about this one is that the social media influencer aspect of this is like completely unrealistic. Like it doesn't even take a big part of it, and it doesn't like make a lot of sense, like how she's making money, how many followers she has, and I hate when that happens. And then 2, like she is just a very, very unreliable narrator, but she's still like being a psychiatrist and still like she's going crazy but still doing very normal things for her day-to-day life, and those 2 things don't correlate to me. Like I feel like she should have like she was still able to like go to work and act normal when in her mind she was going crazy, and I feel like that was very like disconcerting. Like it didn't like match the tone of this book, her doing all this like normal stuff all throughout. She's also like a terrible therapist. And yeah, it's not the worst book of the year. It's definitely entertaining if you want to read it. It's one of those books that you can read in a day. It goes back so quick. But again, like the plot twist wasn't for me either. I don't want to tell you exactly what it was, but it wasn't for me personally. So yeah, I didn't love this book, but it was a debut novel, and I see the vision. I just want this author to take more time and to maybe come up with another idea and just do it a little bit better. But I won't criticize her too much because I feel like it was her first try. And yeah, those were all my worst books of 2023. I hope you had fun discussing them with me, and I'll follow up with my best books of 2023, so look forward to that. Bye!